Good morning, everyone. We are going to go ahead and get started. It is 10 a.m. My name is Danielle Tran, and I want to welcome you guys here with us today. We're going to be doing an overview of exactly what your California benefits are as veterans and how to access them. So let's go ahead and get started. So we are going to go over a few housekeeping items. We do ask that everyone keep their microphones on mute and their cameras off. That is to maintain bandwidth. We do have quite a few people joining the call here today. So we want to make sure that everyone is able to get access to that and everything moves smoothly. So please keep your cameras and your microphones off in order to minimize distractions and maximize bandwidth. We are going to be doing an overview, and we will have someone from your local county veteran service office speak, as well as having a local interagency network coordinator speak with you here today. And at the end of all of that, all of the speakers will be available here to answer any questions that you might have. And then speaking of the questions, we do ask that you go ahead and utilize the chat function in order to send those questions to CalTAP questions. And at that point, either the moderator will go ahead and answer those questions right away if she can, and if not, we'll go ahead and address them through the whole group later on at the end of the webinar. So let's go ahead and get started. Like I said, my name is Danielle Tran. I am a training coordinator with the California Transition Assistance Program here at Calvet, and we're going to be doing a CalTAP overview of just what our program is, but also be going into a very detailed overview of what your California benefits are. So what is CalTAP? CalTAP is designed to inform and connect veterans of all eras to their earned state and federal benefits, and we do that through our 5 pathways: our core curriculum, entrepreneurship, employment, education, and that 5th pathway is for our service providers. So that's for people who are actually, doing business with veterans and helping them as well. You will be able to get access to the Veterans Resource Book. You should have received a link for that in the email that came with the Zoom link, but we're also going to make sure that it gets sent out to you via chat to make sure that you have access to that. Also on our website, you can go to calvet.ca.gov, and on that main page, you'll see CalTAP there, that banner with the laptop. You'll be able to get access to all of the core pathways, and all of the information that I am talking about here today will be available on this website for you guys to kind of review and go through at your own pace. So just know that that information is always available to you. In addition to that, we also want to highlight our webinars section on our page. This is where you can go and have the opportunity to view previously recorded webinars. Since we've been doing everything in telework since COVID-19 began, all of our webinars have been recorded. You can get access to the PDF documentation as well. And so this webinar is being recorded and will be available on our website within 24 to 72 hours, depending on how long it takes them to get it posted on the website. But you will be able to watch this video if you missed anything, or be able to download the PowerPoint presentation if you need that. So how can you use CalTAP online? So I'm going to go ahead and just highlight that core curriculum pathway, since that's mostly what we're going to be going over here today. And once you're in that section, you'll see a breakdown of all of the different modules that are in there. Again, this website is designed to be self-paced. You can look at all information at your leisure. And we're going to focus on Module 5, your California benefits. And once you click on that page, you'll be able to access documents like this. It's going to be a PDF document that will have links in there. So if you need more information about a specific benefit, it is going to take you directly to that by clicking that link. It's going to go over, again, in great detail. All the things that I'm going over with you today is going to be available for you to view on this website. So if you're looking to rely on the PowerPoint, it's up on our website. You don't need to do that. It'll be on the website in great detail for you. So let's get into the grid of it. What are your California benefits? So if you're looking at the Veterans Resource Book, it's going to start in Chapter 1, and that's where you'll be able to get a lot of those details as well. And then in addition to that, you can do a brief overview on our website, or you can choose the option that'll go into more greater detail. So let's start with the college tuition fee waiver for veterans dependents. So this waives mandatory system-wide tuition and fees at any state-funded college. That's at the community college level, the California State University level, and the University of California level. And this covers those tuition and fees all the way through the doctorate. So we would like to highlight that this does only cover system-wide tuition and fees, because different schools charge different fees for different things. So for example, if a community college in San Diego is rebuilding their community center. Well, that's not a system-wide fee. That fee is significant only to that San Diego Community College. And so that's not a fee that would be waived. So there could potentially be some out-of-pocket costs, but generally those fees tend to be very small. But just know if you have a veteran dependent that is applying for this fee waiver, that there might be some minimal fees on there. It's not every single last fee, it's whatever is a system-wide fee. This benefit is also open to disabled veterans, their stepchildren. It can includes no limit of those children. So if you are a disabled veteran with a rating of 0% or above, your children, your stepchildren, and your spouse under some plans will be able to qualify for this benefit. Your dependent must reside in California. So for example, if you as the veteran decide to move to another state, but your veteran dependent decides to stay here in California in order to pursue their education, they would still qualify for that benefit. So the goal is to save veterans, as much money as possible. Right now, it's saving veterans over $35 million a year. And to apply for this benefit, you would go to your local county veteran service office. So let's go briefly over the plans. So Plan A is for a veteran who is 100% disabled. And this particular plan will cover the spouse or the child. It does have an age limit for the child of 14 to 27 years old. Plan B is where we generally see most of our veterans dependents qualifying under. The veteran must have a disabled rating of 0 to 100%. And in order to qualify, the child must submit their annual income, which is their adjusted gross income, added with the value of support provided by the parent. So what you say you provide as the parent is what that value of support is. But overall, it must not exceed the annual income limit, which changes every year, but it is the federal poverty level. I believe it's just over 13,000 this year. But again, that amount does change each year. And every year they would have to recertify that they didn't go over that amount. Under Plan C, this is for dependents of any member of the California National Guard. And then under Plan D, it's for children of Medal of Honor recipients. Again, like I said, we typically see people falling under Plan B. So we tend to go into a little bit more detail under that. But for all of these plans, you would go ahead and apply at your local county veteran service office. Let's talk about our DMV programs. For the veteran's driver's license, this just allows you to access certain privileges and benefits associated with being a veteran without having to carry around your DD2 form 214. So you would take a copy of that just down to your local county veteran service office, and they would help you get all the paperwork that would be needed in order to get that veteran put on your driver's license. So that should hopefully be the last time you need to show that DD214 in order to get benefits and privileges. You can also get honoring veterans license plates on your for your vehicle. This is open to pretty much everybody. It just allows people to honor veterans of any service, either your team members, or if you have a father or grandfather that served, you can honor them by getting something put on your license plate. So to look at the available logos and emblems, you would go to our website. The link is there. I typically will just say, look in the search bar and search for license plate. And that's how it usually comes up pretty easily. And then we have the motor vehicle registration fee waiver. This can waive your fees. It is for Medal of Honor recipients, ex-prisoners of war, and for those who have 100% disability that is mobility related. So if you fall into one of those categories, you may be able to apply for this fee waiver, and it is again through the DMV. Your outdoor activities include getting a fishing and hunting license at a reduced fee. You would apply for this through the California Department of Fish and Wildlife. You do have to have a service-connected disability of 50% or greater. And then similarly to that, you have the state park pass. It'll give you a no-cost use of all state pass. You would apply through the California Department of Parks and Rec, and again, 50% or greater. For the tax programs, we do have our disabled veteran property tax exemption. You would contact and apply through your local county assessor's office. I do have the link there on the website, on the screen there. Again, we will have this PowerPoint accessible if you guys like to have all those links. I know we're going through this kind of fast, so you may not have time to write all those down. But again, this is where you would go and you contact that individual person in order to apply for this exemption. And then for business license, tax, and fee exemptions, if you do have a business, you can potentially have county, state, and municipal fees and license taxes waived, and you would apply through your local county or city licensing authority. And then additionally, we have the Disabled Veterans Business Enterprise Program. So this is if you have a business and you would like to do business with state departments. So having this certification allows you to do business with the state and be really competitive about it. So each state department has a 3% solicitation goal, meaning they want to go ahead and give their contracts to a small business or disabled business, veteran business enterprise program. And there are nearly 10 state agencies that have an DVBE first policy, meaning they're looking to give that contract to you guys first before they look for anybody else. Your business would be advertised for free on CalEProcure. So this is a place that will allow state agencies to look for businesses that would suit their needs. And then in addition to that, this certification gives you the ability to have the same benefits and rewards at some local cities and counties and organizations through their reciprocity program. Now, Calvet home loans. This is a great option too if you guys are looking to purchase a home in addition to your VA home loan guarantee. Calvet does provide financing for veterans who are wanting to buy a home. They offer a competitive market interest rates, lower no down payments, and you do have to reside in California in order to use this loan, so you do have to live there. So going into a little bit more details, it's for veterans who have served an active duty of a minimum of 90 days. There's no prior residency rules. So again, if you were previously living in, I don't know, Florida, and you decide to move to California for whatever reason, you would be able to utilize this Calvet home loan after that, once you move here. There is a great insurance deductible that they do offer that is only available if you have your home loan through Calvet, and this provides a low deductible full replacement for fire, hazard, and earthquake, which is really important in California, because unfortunately we do have some areas that has fires, earthquakes, and with this deductible, they pay that money and they get a full replacement of their home. And so it makes it very affordable to be able to rebuild. In addition to some other benefits, these aren't there aren't specific benefits, but they are great resources for you as veterans. So we do have our Calvet Women's Veterans Division, and so they provide information, advocacy, outreach, and support to California's women veterans. They also partner with the California Women Veterans Leadership Council, again, to just make sure that they're always advocating for women veterans. This is what their website looks like. We strongly encourage you guys to reach out to them via email if you're looking for more information. I do believe they're also still teleworking, so reaching out to them via email is also a great way to get in contact. They have a women's veteran roster that you can sign up for to make sure you're staying in constant contact with whatever they've got going on. They do also have monthly statewide webinars. So by getting on that roster, you're making sure you're stay up to date with anything that's happening, not only at Calvet through their division, but also statewide. Similarly, you have the minority veterans. They also do information, advocacy, outreach, and support. But one of the big things that they do is helping unnaturalized veterans gain access to citizenship and naturalization services. This is their website, Minority and Underrepresented Veterans. Again, a great resource for you to stay connected, get assistance, get help, get somebody else who's going to fight for you in your corner. We also have 8 long-term homes. So this is more towards, as you guys are getting older, you are looking for different levels of care, either independent living, nursing care, memory care, outpatient care. The 8 homes offer a variety of levels of care based on the ones that are here on this slide here. So it's an opportunity for you not only to live with veterans such as yourself as you guys begin to age, but also to receive care if you need it. And so there's 8 locations throughout California. It's another great option. On their website, you can see their wait list and see which places do have openings, but it's, again, a great option. In addition to the national VA cemeteries, so those are the cemeteries that are owned and operated by the federal VA side, you do have 3 state cemeteries that you can also be interned at. And so the reasoning is behind this is there are a lot of veterans living in California, and so the national VA cemeteries can get quite full. I do believe that the one in San Francisco is actually completely full, so you can't get into that one at all. So what the state wants to do is have an additional resources for you guys to have your service honored at your end of life. We want to make sure that you're getting open to that. So we do have 3 veterans homes, or veterans cemeteries. The cemetery down in Yountville is only open to those who are residing in the Yountville home, though. So you do have those other 2. And I believe they are trying to get another one open in Irvine, but we haven't had any more details on what that looks like. But again, always trying to make sure that you guys have access to everything. So I want to go over a few common veteran websites. Again, as veterans, you probably are already very, very familiar with these, but we like to emphasize it because they're important, especially this website, va.gov. Hopefully you're very familiar with this, but there are often times when things change and you want to go to the source always whenever you can for the most up-to-date information. So anything related to your federal benefits, you're going to be checking out on the va.gov. That's the U.S. Department of Veteran Affairs. So you can get access to information on all of these things. So if anything changes, here's the place to go. Here's the place to look. In addition to that, you have Ebenefits, and that's just where you guys can apply for and manage your benefits and manage your health. So again, you want to make sure you're tapped in and registered on this website. In addition to that, we do like to emphasize My Health eVet, especially right now during COVID-19, where a lot of appointments and doctor things are happening, not necessarily face-to-face anymore. I do believe things are beginning to open up much more, but having access to My Health eVet allows you to have telehealth appointments with your doctors. It allows you to manage your appointments and refill prescriptions. So if you have VA healthcare, we strongly recommend that you are very familiar with this website if you're not. So finally, here's my information again. If you guys would like to hear us expand on that, we can do that during the Q&A, or you can ask us questions in the chat room. But please feel free to reach out to us either at that 1-800 number or directly via email. I'm here to help you guys. That's my job. And it's something that I'm very passionate about. So at this time, I'm going to turn it over to our local interagency network coordinator. I actually do believe Cole is on here today. So this information is not correct. We will get this updated before we get it on the website. But if we'd like to have Cole take over, please join us here. Thank you, Cole. Sorry for the typo.
Oh, that's okay, Danielle. So as Danielle mentioned, my name is Cole Wagoner. I'm the local interagency network coordinator for the North Valley, which is the far north of California. I'm not sure how many of you are zooming in from various parts of California, but we're up here, Sacramento and north. So next slide, please. So as you can see from the map here, we have our state of California divided up into 8 link regions. My region is up there in the orange, but as you can see, we have it separated out through the various parts of California, and each one of those parts has a local interagency network coordinator like myself, someone who's a local resource who keeps up on the availability of benefits in your local area that can help kind of navigate these different benefits. Next slide, please. So what do? I kind of like to think of it as 2 parts of our job. One part of our job is doing outreach to veterans and their families, making sure that they're aware of what benefits and resources are available to them. And the other part is to work with service providers, folks who are doing stuff for veterans throughout the state, make sure we're all working together and make sure that we can assist veterans and their family members to the best extent possible. Next slide, please. So some of the things that we help connect folks to would be employment and training benefits through like the Employment Development Department or our other state partners that work for Warriors, and then other state benefits through the County Veteran Service Office, federal benefits like healthcare through the federal VA, all kinds of veterans benefits out there throughout the state. Next slide, please. So this is Annette's information. She's our Central Valley link. My email address is on the link map that they put in the chat as well. So if you're zooming in from some other part of the state, just realize that there's a local interagency network coordinator, somebody that's local that understands what the benefits are and how you can get access to them in your area, that you can either call up or email, ask questions, get answers, get connected to resources. Because as you can probably imagine, the difference between what veterans resources are available in, Shasta County in Northern California are a lot different than what's available in San Diego County in Southern California. So that's where our local expertise comes in handy and helps veterans get connected to those benefits. I want to keep my portion as short as possible, just so that we have enough time for that question and answer at the end. And so I'm looking forward to hearing from folks about their specific questions. But I'm glad that everybody's joining us. And I just want to say thank you and welcome to everybody joining us.
Thank you so much, Cole. So at this time, we are going to turn it over to Dave Rose. He is our Veteran Resource Officer. He just happens to be out of Fresno County, and he's just going to tell you just in general what you can expect from your county veteran service office.
Okay, thanks, Danielle and everybody. And it's an honor to be able to speak to all of California veterans right now, even though, like Danielle said, I'm specific to Fresno. There's 56 county veteran service offices out of 58 counties. And so you're well covered. The two that don't have a physical location is covered by the nearby county. I don't know it too, but I will say that in the book, page 187, they're all alphabetical with our phone numbers and addresses. So you can find your nearest county veteran service officer that way. Next slide, please. If I have one. Okay, so basically, we all know that it's the federal VA who does the claims for service connection or disability claims, pension claims, burial claims. That's where the money comes from. But somebody on the ground has to develop that claim and submit it in the best way possible. So Calvet is our state need-to-know organization. They're congressionally chartered so that we can do our training and get accreditation through them in order to fulfill our duties. And we work for the county. So about 100 years ago, every county, or maybe more, every county started to stand up veteran service offices because there wasn't enough boots on the ground to help veterans. Okay, so in California, we are an association, meaning that all the Cvsos, all the California Veteran Service Officers, joined as a team and work together with Calvet in order to better implement the claims. And we do over half of them in California. Next slide. Okay, so I do want to make real clear, right, that the VA, even though it's one VA, and I'm talking about the feds, it's really three, all under one leader, of course, but the Veterans Health Administration is healthcare. You can talk to them all day long about an issue, but it will not transfer to a claim unless we file for it. So they're great at giving you great healthcare and documenting issues that can be used for a claim. We, the one in the middle, the VBA, Veterans Benefit Administration, is who we actually submit our claims to. And they're the ones that pay the money. Okay, you can change your address with one, it will not change it with the other. So remember where the money comes from. And then there's the National Cemetery Administration. Of course, we do, SAB but true, the burial benefits, and then also for spouses too, and family members if eligible. And next slide, please. What do we do? Okay, so we provide veterans and dependents free benefit information, assistance, and counseling. And what we really do is we team up with the veterans in order to get the best possible outcome. Veterans can file their own claims. They most often get a reduced rating or get denied because they don't know how to put the package together with the current VA rules. And that's why we're paid to do this for you for free. And it says we brought in 457 million new or increased, and we do that every year. It just goes up. So I just want to let you know that we do disability, burial, and pension claims. Pension is a low income benefit. And the next slide might talk about it. If you want to go to the next slide. Yeah, there we go. So I'm just going to talk about the burial benefits, Pension, it's on the right, and disability should be on there somewhere. Claim and compensation, top right. Okay, so that's disability claim. So that's mainly what this crowd, I'm assuming, it wants to know, but I'm going to cover the three real quick. For disability, for the VA, you have to have two things. You have to have an in-service event, whether it's documented or you write a statement on it or a friend writes a statement on it. You have to have an in-service event that led to a chronic disability. Chronic doesn't mean it's super bad. It means it doesn't go away, such as hearing loss, ringing in the ears, a bad knee, a bad back. Those things do not go away, but we need proof. So you have to see a doctor at least once after service. And you have to, because if not, you don't have a problem, is what the VA thinks, right? And then the in-service incident, if it's not in your records, you didn't go to sick call for it, we need to at least get a statement in order for them to trigger the exam. So what we do is we develop it, submit it to the VA, they trigger an exam. That examiner, and he's neutral, just determines the severity and writes an opinion based on what he sees, and then the rater assigns a rating. Each condition can be anywhere from 0 to 100%, and once you get more conditions, they combine them, okay? I want you to also know that we do increases. So if you're service-connected at 10% for your knee and you have been for 10 years, it might be worse. You don't need any new information. You file for an increase on the service-connected condition at any time with no new information, as long as you've never been denied for that increase before. We also reopen denied claims. That's a big one. And if one condition, like a bad back, leads to a bad knee, that's a secondary condition. And with small amount of documentation, we can get that treated as if it's directly service connected. Okay, and you get paid the same. Burial, we just call us and we'll start the process. And pension is a low-income benefit, whether it's for spouses or the veteran, but they have to have at least 1 day of wartime. They don't have to serve in the war, but their DD 214 has to encompass at least 1 day of wartime service and meet some other eligibility requirements. And that's an income-driven program. So basically, every dollar you make is $1 less the VA will give you. And for veterans, it maxes out at like $13.87 a month. Okay, so it's not high. If a veteran gets $700 from SSI or whatever, then the VA will give the remainder up to $13.70 something, roughly $1,400. So that's how that works. As you get older, for pension, you can claim 2 additional things, whether housebound or aid and attendance, and that gives you extra monetary benefit. And all these other things on here, like the veterans designation, the college fee waiver, discharge upgrades, we all work with those on it as they come in. And basically, they're programs that are authorized by Calvet, but we implement them at the local level. Okay, so most of those come through us. And I do want to go ahead and hit the next slide, because since Cole was so good at keeping us on time, I want to try to maintain that. Okay, yeah, let's talk about a service-connected disability. It's any condition, injury, or disease that was either caused by or aggravated by military service. The aggravated part, we already talked about caused by. Aggravated, let's say you have, flat feet and they still let you in with the waiver, and later on your flat feet are worse. Well, there's an aggravation factor here where you can still get service connected even though it pre-existed, but they take the difference away if they have an idea of 10% when joining, you're 30 now, so you get 20. Just simple math. Usually they give you the whole thing. And it says as long as it's chronic in nature or has residuals. So broken wrist, weakness, numbness, dexterity, those are residuals from a broken wrist, and they are chronic. And so it has to meet that. Next slide, please. It's what I've already talked about. And once you connect with your county veteran service officer and they assign you a veteran service rep, or you get in contact with one, they start working with you, they're going to develop this for you. Make sure you have this before we send it in. Okay. And the nexus at the bottom, that's usually the exam, the neutral exam I talked about, they create the nexus based on the information we gave them about how it happened in service and your current condition. Okay, they create the nexus. Sometimes the nexus might have to be provided by the veteran who gets it from a doctor, but it's all case by case. Next slide, please. How do we do it? I'm just gonna talk and then I'm gonna hit something on this slide. The way we do it is by once we make contact, we determine what they want to file for. We give them advice on maybe some other things that are related to that. We make sure the correct documentation is given to us and reviewed to the best way possible before it's submitted. After it's submitted, if we did our job right, it'll trigger an exam. That's the third one. Bam. And then after the exam, you just wait for a decision. You can call, you can check. You're going to know before us because you're going to get a letter in the mail. Then you tell us, say, hey, I got awarded or I got denied. And then we can look at it in our VA system because we are accredited with the federal VA and we have access to your claims file once we get going with you. And next slide. Discharge upgrades. I'm glad they have the assessment tool on the Calvit website because not everybody needs one. And the latest percentage I heard was 5% are being approved. And that's 5%, 5 out of 100. Not a great route to go. There's other ways to beat that system. That's why you need to take the assessment tool. If it is your last and only choice to get federal VA benefits, then of course, we will guide you through the upgrade process. Okay, next slide. How do I find my CVSO? Page 187, yeah, right there on the book. And what I want to let you know also, guys, is that the current posture, okay, my office is ran this way right now because of COVID and everything. We have the phones. I have 2 people answering phones. Anytime they're busy, it goes off into a message and they have to retrieve the message, call the veteran. There's a lot of calls, but also my email is a great way to get scheduled. So we're not scheduled out more than a week. It's just, you can't come into the lobby and say, hey, I want to make an appointment yet. We're not at that posture. And I believe from talking to most of the other CVSOs, they're doing the same thing. It's very similar in nature. Soon, hopefully that'll change. But right now, that's how it is. And we've been working claims. Every CVSO office has been. We've never closed, put it that way. We might have altered the way we do work and intake, but that's it. The Fresno office has 2 administrative people, 4 accredited VSRs, and myself. Every CVSO has to be a veteran. And what else was I going to say? Yeah, just that I do claims also. So that's the way we run the office here. Okay, and you can find us also on the Calvit website by Find a Service Provider. You don't want to use the book, and you just enter your zip code and maximum distance to search. Hey, you got to get the closest one because you might be in Fresno County, but closer to Tulare CVSO. You never know. And there is no boundary law. You know, you can cross over. It doesn't matter. Then you find a CVSO, you could call the number or probably click on that. I'm not sure. Next slide. Yay. So that is my office phone number. That is my email. You can send me emails if you have questions, even if you're not going to be served by me. Just say, hey, I saw you at the Calvet at the Calvet online webinar, and I have a question. And I will give you the straight truth from what I know and the information that you give me. And we all work this way. We work great with Calvet and with the other CVSOs. We're not in competition. We're all as a team. And that's all I got to say. And just
Thank you, Dave.
Yeah.
Thank you, Dave. That was perfect. I'm going to get this slide updated again. We have Annette's information on there, but it is Cole that's with us here today. But again, if you would like to save Annette's information, you definitely can. Again, the links are completely there for you guys. So at this point, we're going to go ahead and move into our question and answer portion of the webinar. So if there were any questions that came in through our chat, it has been being moderated by Jen on the back end there. So Jen, if you want to go ahead and start that, we will go ahead and address some of the questions that came through.
All right, we did have a few questions. The first question we have is, who is eligible for the veteran ID? I tried to get one, but I was told I don't qualify. I was a reservist that was activated for over a year. Thanks.
Can I answer that one?
Yes, sir.
Okay, because there's three veteran IDs. The hospital will issue one if you get health care. And if you have a service connection, it'll say disabled vet. That's one. The state of California, as mentioned earlier here, has the veteran on your driver's license. And about 2 years ago, the CVSOs and Calvet decided to be more inclusive. And if you served in the reserves and you were activated, you're totally eligible. So all you need is your DD-214 from your basic training or completion of your 6-year tour. Either one, we can do the paperwork for you to take the DMV, and I just need a picture of a government ID to go with that. And so, and the third one, each county can make their own, but I still need DD-214, and then there the CVSO decides, if you're eligible. But we're more lenient than even the state standard, so you can get one either from the county, from the state. And I don't know who you went to, but if you send me an email, I could just explain again what you need and why you are eligible. I could even send you the bulletin that Calvet sent. It shows you're eligible.
Thank you so much, David. So yeah, you definitely gave us a lot of different options there. The next question that I'm going to give to you, because this is a you question also. I've been waiting to get some help with my claim that I put in last year. Not sure if I would be better off asking Calvet or the American Legion / Dave. Any suggestions or inputs?
Well, I don't know where he submitted it at, or he or she submitted it themselves, or what, but at any time, if you're having a problem with your claim, just contact the CVSO and we'll take it over from that point. You just do a representation form. 3 days later, we have access, excuse me, access to your VA claims file. We can see what went on, what needs to go on, and how to move it forward. But just know, for about a year, claims are sat, and depending on the exam you needed because of COVID, that's fully open now. When I file a claim, a week later, they're getting exams. So things are moving correctly. And with IU, it's all about 2 forms that if they aren't filled out correctly, then the VA will not move forward. And one of them comes from your former employer. That's important too. Yeah, that's a tough one.
Yes, it is. I have another question that came in that I can answer really quickly. Our PowerPoint will be put on our website within a few days of this webinar. To find it, you'll just go to on the main screen of Calvet. You'll go to CalTAP portal within that banner in the middle there of the screen. Click on that, go down our page. Right underneath those pathways, you're going to see archived and upcoming webinars on there. On the archives, it'll have the recorded webinar, and it'll also have our PowerPoint attached to that also. So another question we have here, for the home loan, could you please speak about how much the loan is in California? The national VA site seems to be low for the state. So for all those type of questions in the chat, I did put in Brad Pedersen's information. He is the Calvet home loan main rep that can answer all your questions about VA home loans, Calvet home loans, all sorts of different grants that are out there for you. We recommend that you contact him directly for any and all your home loan questions. If you still need that, I can put it back in the chat once more again. Cole, did you have something to add to that?
Well, just as like a general statement, the deal with VA loans is that the loan limits are different for every county in California. So it depends on a lot of factors, where you live, things like that. And then also who you're getting a loan through. At Calvet, we go a little bit higher than the traditional VA loan limit. And so that's why it's really it's a tough thing to answer on a statewide level, because there's a lot of different factors that go into what the loan limit will be. But I know, like Calvet, even in the lowest cost counties, they'll go up to about 600, and I believe it's 650,000 in the low cost counties, and then in high cost counties like San Diego, things like that, they'll go, I believe, into 900,000s.
Almost a million, yes.
And so it's, if you're in one of those very high cost counties, 900,000 might still not cover the entire cost of your loan, but it's a pretty high number in general. So
Definitely. All right, so let's go. There's quite a few questions, everybody. So it might take a little bit to get to your question. I'm at the same time as giving you these questions, I'm also recording more questions that are coming in. The next question is, I'm a veteran. I have been told my state and federal benefits will be coming to a conclusion. Do I qualify for further financial assistance in attending master's degree in business administration? I am willing to attend a state university. So I guess what my understanding of this question is, when he's talking about his benefits, he's talking about his educational benefits. There are not any additional benefits within by Calvet, but there are federal benefits through the Employment and Readiness Education Assistance Program that way. And then there also, you can look into scholarships and such. Cole, do you have any other recommendations for those that have exhausted their education benefits?
I always recommend folks look at it used to be called vocational rehabilitation. Now it's called Veterans Readiness and Employability. It's a separate chapter of the GI Bill. So it's GI Bill, but not the traditional, Forever GI Bill or Montgomery GI Bill, things like that. So it's GI Bill for disabled veterans to help disabled veterans become more employable. A lot of times they'll pay for finishing out degrees, they'll pay for certification programs or training programs, things like that. But again, it's only for disabled veterans. And so that's probably the best option for finishing out a degree if you're going to run out of GI Bill benefits. The vocational rehabilitation, or now they call it Veterans Readiness and Employability Program, would be the way to go if you can apply for it.
And we have more information on that benefit if you go to our website, go to the CalTAP portal, and go to education for the education pathway. All right, let's see. The next question I have is, if a veteran that is identified with asbestos, can the VSO help with filing since it was not diagnosed back in the time of service, but came up later due to service in the military? David?
Yeah, I would assume that one's for me.
Yeah.
Yes, as long as the ship is listed on the asbestos manifest that the federal VA has out, and they have some type of diagnosis that's asbestos related, it can be filed and won. Usually it needs a letter from the physician addressing that veteran specifically, not all the journals and all the this could cause that, but a nexus letter specifically for that veteran saying, I've been treating him for this many years. In my opinion, it's more likely than not he got this condition from asbestos. That would seal the deal. But if you just throw out that, they aren't so willing to just concede it right away, because there's other things that can cause problems in the lungs and stuff. And that's why it's not an automatic presumptive, but it is well known, and the ship manifest is out there, but it's got to be something that's asbestos related. And if denied, then that nexus letter is how we would reopen it and get a win.
Perfect. So there's quite a few questions about claims. So what I'm doing is I'm kind of going to lump them all together, David, so that'll help you out a little bit, hopefully. Any chance you will know when you have a rating from the claim? So I assume they're asking like how to find out status updates on claims.
Right. So if you use va.gov or Ebenefits, you will know when they make a decision. You won't get the letter. You'll be a little bit confused, but you'll see the decision is made. That's usually when people contact me, shoot me an email, said, hey, something happened on my claim. I go straight to the VA claims file, pull it up, and I go, yeah, as of tomorrow, they're going to award you, or today, or you were awarded these 3 and denied these 3, and we start our plan right away. So they will get that letter in 7 days, 5 to 7 days.
Great.
But the VA still will not talk to you about your award until you receive the letter. So
Great.
Cvso now has access to that letter.
Yeah. Another thing I want to bring up is that another option is to sign up for Ebenefits, and you can look at your status that way, and they can give you kind of a rough estimate. So you can see if it's processing or where it's at. It's not like down to a science and exact day, but you're going to get an idea of where your claim is in the process.
Correct.
Okay. Next one is, let me see. Can a spouse provide a buddy / lay statement since I was with me during when I served 22 years?
Yes, but there is a new form for that.
Okay.
So not the basic statement form, the 4138 we've been using for probably 20, 30 years, but there's a specific one. It's a 21-10210. That
Here,
is
let me put that in the chat one more time.
Yeah.
Let's slow down for a second here. So it's VA form.
Yeah.
Okay.
21-10210.
21-10210. All right. I just put that in the chat. Does that look good to you?
Yes, that's perfect. And if they go to VA forms or whatever online and put that in, it'll pop right up. It's a statement other than the veteran from anybody else.
Great. So here's another question. I served in Afghanistan and I registered in the VA burn pit registry and recently have signs of major sinuses, but was not diagnosed during service. Can I file claim for this?
Yay, love it. Okay, that's another, yes, you can. That's another type of service connection. We've talked about direct and secondary and aggravated, but those are presumptives. And that's a Gulf War presumptive. You need to look them up if you don't know, but anything to do with sinuses, the digestive tract, joint pain, muscle pain, those all need to be diagnosed by a doctor. And in order to get service connected, it should have been an acute onset where it just kind of didn't gradually progress over 3 years, but just hit you hard, or at least came and stayed with you forever, or at least 6 months. So those are the two things, the two hoops you have to jump through in the VA's eyes in order to be service connected, but it's a presumptive. If you served in that area and you come up with one of these problems, you will get service connected for it, provided those two hoops are met: acute onset and 6 months of chronicity at least. And so people might have filed for it and got denied, but they didn't really show that they had 6 months of chronicity with dates, and the acute onset wasn't made clear.
Thank you. All right. So, wow, that's great news. It really is great news that you don't have to jump through so many loops, and it's presumptive. And as long as you have that documentation, that's great.
Yeah.
So especially that far away from, when it happened. Here is a question. This may or may not be for you, but can you help me understand the business license tax and fee waiver? The language on Calvit website makes it sound like the annual state fee of $800 is waived for eligible veterans, but nobody I've spoken to in the Secretary of State's office is familiar with this benefit. So they want to know how that works. Cole, did you want to go on this, or do you want me to try? So what I do know is for those taxes and fee exemptions, you're going to go to your county assessor's office, wherever you pay your taxes for your business. Now, from there, you're going to show them your proof that you're a veteran, proof of your disability rating, or proof of whatever it may be. And then that would be with the county. Do you want to expand on that, Cole?
Yeah, it really depends on what type of business you have. A lot of times so it has to be a sole proprietorship. It depends on what services you offer. It depends on what type of fee that it is. So there's a lot of different factors that go into it. If you have more questions about that specific thing, I've dug into it for a few other people before. They can just email me at my email address, and I'll talk them through what might be the hang up on that.
Thank you so much, Cole. I did put Cole's information in the chat. I can put it in once more again for you guys. I'm so sorry about that. Let's see. Somebody asked, can you help me understand how the government contract benefit works? I wanted to work in asbestos testing and receive government contract. So my best advice to you guys for that is to go to our main page, the Calvet page, go to the CalTAP portal, that's in the middle, and go to entrepreneurship. From there, you'd go to module 1 that's going to go over contracts with the state and federal contracts. And also I'd recommend that you go onto our website, again, go in the CalTAP portal, and we have archived recorded webinars. There is one on there on entrepreneurship. So check that out also. Next question is, can we use a driver's license with a veteran status on it to enter military base in California? Can we use a license to shop at the commissary, or do we need a veteran ID for both?
I can take that one, Jen. So access to military installations and use of the commissaries is for retired veterans. So veterans who did their 20 years and they received some type of retirement annuity from the Defense Department, and disabled veterans. So if the ID that gets you access to the installations and the commissaries is the same ID that David mentioned before, it's the healthcare ID that says service connected underneath your photo. So if you're a disabled veteran and you receive your health care from the VA, that has an ID card that goes with it. That ID card has a barcode on the back. Those barcodes are integrated into the gate system at the Defense Department installations, and they'll scan that card when you go to access the base and when you're at the checkout at the commissary. That's the folks that are allowed to use the military installations and the commissaries. It's not every single veteran, it's retirees or disabled veterans.
Thank you. And then also I wanted to add that because of COVID, some of the installations, you might have some problems getting onto the base because of COVID. They have like restricted access to the base only to active duty. So if you're having issues, that might be it also. All right, so let's go to another question here. Is there reimbursement for college fee waiver? I was on appeal status for 2 years prior to the claim granted. David, can you answer this question?
I would love to make it simpler. The appeal status I cannot speak to because that's all Calvet controlled through Nancy Noriega. But if the claim was on appeal status, okay, that's for me. Okay, so I understand the question now. The only way, about 3 years ago, State Senate was looking at the college fee waiver, maybe 5, and said, we're going to get rid of this benefit because it's being abused. And so they got really strict guidelines. We get audited so thoroughly on the fee waivers, and they changed the retroactive rule. State Senate did and Calvet. So you can only get retro for the year you're in. So for instance, right now we're in academic year, not fiscal year or calendar year, academic year 2021. It started in August in 20, and it's going to end in, summer or June of 21. So if somebody applied during that year and got denied because they don't have a service rating, then that proof of denial is all they need when their rating comes effective. So they had to apply and get denied. And then when it's done, then they could retro back from the first time they applied. And that takes 2 people's signature. That's the only one that does in the county office. And I have not done any in 2 years.
Well, that was a great question, though, because I do know that that does sometimes happen. And it's really important that even if your claim is not done, that you apply for that to get that denial letter.
Right. And let the CVSO or the VSR know that that's your intent, so that it'll be denied just right away. It's a good denial. Yeah,
it is. So here's a question that's pretty easy to answer. It's can you talk a little bit more about the property tax exemption? The property tax exemption is an exemption on your property tax. So for instance, if you have a home that is worth $500,000 and you are rated by the Department of Defense at 100%, you can get an exemption up to $150,000. So now your home is being assessed at $350,000. To apply for this, you're going to go to the county assessor's office where you pay your house taxes. You're going to fill out the form. And once you do that and establish that the first time, when you fill out the form, you're also going to bring your benefit letter also, And once you do that the first time, it'll automatically renew every single year. It's fantastic. It saves a lot of money. Plan B for the college tuition fee waiver appears to require some level of disability on the website, but the presentation shows as little as 0% required. Explain this. So yes, it's 0%. 0% does not mean that you did not apply. 0% means that you applied for disability, and they're acknowledging something happened to you while you were activated, but that does not interfere with your life. So they're going to give you that 0% for that, but they're not going to compensate you for that. David, would you like to expand on that?
Actually, you did perfect.
Great. Okay.
So 0% is a win.
Yes.
You increase as you get older, you can increase that if it becomes more problematic.
Exactly. All right. Hi, 100% disabled. My daughter will not pay tuition and fees through her doctorate. Any assistance for housing available besides Chapter 35, which only does 42 months. So I do not believe that there is anything outside of that other than the college tuition fee waiver that still applies to you guys. But it has to be a public college. Is that correct?
Yes. So if she's going to a school at a state-funded school, so not a private college, she would still be eligible for both the tuition fee waiver and Chapter 35 benefits through the VA, as long as she keeps her income below that income threshold for the tuition fee waiver. So through the Calvet tuition fee waiver, she would be eligible for both Plan A and Plan B of the fee waiver. However, she can't use Plan A and the Chapter 35 benefit at the same time. So the Plan A is the one for only the dependent children of 100% disabled veterans. They can use Plan A, which has no income limit, but it does have an age limit, but they can't use Plan A and Chapter 35 at the same time. Now, if your dependent child has an income limit that qualifies under Plan B, they can use the Plan B of the tuition fee waiver and Chapter 35 benefits, which is like the sweet spot of maximum benefits where they can get their tuition and fee waived through the state, and they can also keep receiving that monthly living stipend from the federal government under Chapter 35. And so that's something that I would explore with the County Veteran Service Office in your area to see which of those benefits she might be eligible under. if she can make it under that Plan B income threshold and also receive Chapter 35 benefits, that would kind of be the best of both worlds.
Yes. If neither one of those work, I would recommend looking at the scholarships through the militarischolar.org, and that's for dependent children. And let me see, I thought I had one more, but just looking, I would definitely Google into scholarships for military dependents or children. There's quite a few out there. The next question I have here is, I served in the Gulf War for 17 years, sea duty, no help from, I guess she's trying to get help with the Cvso. She's having a hard time, not responsive and not happy, and she's not happy with the Cvso. She wants to know if she can go to see anybody else for this.
I would say yes. Like I said earlier, there is no boundary, federal law boundary. So our county obviously does some from surrounding counties all the time. They might like our service better, or maybe work closer, but she can do that. If she already has a file built up with a county, there is a transfer process where the veteran does the 4138 request to have their records transferred to a different county. And it's done in the middle of the night.
Great.
So she just has to get with them or send them an email saying, I want to request. They're never going to argue. I never have. People transfer in and out all the time.
Great. So there's two questions here, and they both kind of go with each other. Are you able to use the Calvet home loan if you already have a VA home loan already? So if it's a separate new loan, yes, you can use the Calvet home loan if you've already used your VA allotment of what so forth. But if you're asking if you can do a Calvet home loan on top of the loan that you already have, like refinancing, they do some refinancing, but you really should talk to Brad Pedersen more about that. Another question is, what are the benefits of buying a house after retirement? What are the benefits of buying a house after retirement 20 years? The same benefits as somebody who got out after 4 years. There is no additional benefits unless you are a disabled veteran. I believe it's at 20% that they waive some of the fees for that VA home loan. Cole, would you like to expand on that at all?
Yeah, at 10%. So if you're at least 10% disabled, rated by the VA, then if you get a VA home loan, they'll waive what's called the funding fee, which is a fee that they charge at the beginning of the loan when the loan closes. And it can be, depending on how many times you've used your VA loan, things like that, it can be anywhere from 2 to 3.5% of the total amount of your home loan, which when you're talking about like a, $500,000 loan, that could be $5,000 or $10,000 that you would be saving if you have that 10% disability rating from the VA.
Absolutely. It's a great benefit to you guys. It saves quite a bit of money. So looks like we got all the questions, everybody. Thank you so much. Danielle is going to now finish us up. In the chat, it's really important to us. In the chat, we are going to add the survey. We definitely plan to implement and address all your comments, positive, negative, additions, anything. So please click on this link, give us some feedback so we can make these presentations as beneficial as possible to you and your family members. All right, Danielle.
Thank you, Jen. So I know a lot of the questions actually that came up today, we do have very specific webinars coming up related to those. So on Thursday, we have one specifically about entrepreneurship and also about claims and compensation. And again, these are open to all of you guys. So even though, like for example, the one that's on Thursday, that's through the Riverside Community College District, you do not have to be in the Riverside Community College District. It was put forth and we partnered with them for that. But again, we are also strongly encouraging you guys to join if this information is what you want. In addition to that, we did have a lot of questions about home loans. So on 4/20, we do have a presentation with Brad specifically And so Brad will be talking on 420 about the Calvet home loans and some other programs and services. So again, if you guys are looking for more information, we strongly encourage you to stay up to date on our Eventbrite page, follow us on Facebook. That's where we're going to have all this information posted, and you are more than welcome and free and available to join. So we'll go to the last slide. Just a last reminder, as Jen was saying, if you can, please fill out that survey. We do really value your feedback and want to make sure we're always continuing to make the program better for everyone. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to us. You can follow us on Facebook, contact us directly via email. Again, this presentation, I am going to go ahead and update it and make sure it gets available and up on our website later on this week. It, like I said, takes typically between 24 and 72 hours. It's just a whole nother team that does it, but we will get the updated slides deck on there with Cole's information. And again, if you need anything, please let us know. I do see a raised hand. Cameron, anyone else who's free, who would like to hop off, please do so. But I did see there are a few, looks like there's a few more questions coming in.
I'll stick around if folks have
Yeah.
more questions.
I just have to pull with my chat. I don't have it open because it's hard to see the chat on my, so give me a second, folks. Or you can send them to CalTAP questions.
Yeah, if they want to stick around and send them to CalTAP questions,
Yeah.
I'll stay and answer questions as well.
Let me read what we have here. We have one from Cameron. It says, hi, I got out in February from active duty after 7 years. I have a daughter with disabilities similar to polio. I thought there would be medical coverage for her on the civilian side, but it seemed to be very pricey. I'm absolutely terrified and I won't get treatment she needs. Terrified. Who do I go in order to make sure? Oh, it's moving at the same time. So sorry. We're getting questions all over the place. Sorry. Who do I go to in order to make sure she's taken care of and her health isn't in jeopardy?
So as far as health insurance for the family, as far as veteran benefits, that only extends to family members if you are rated 100% service-connected disabled. Then that makes your family eligible for a health insurance program called CHAMP VA, which is it's administered through the VA, but it's not exactly VA healthcare like a veteran receives. And so outside of that, there's not really veteran benefits for family members unless you're 100% disabled. And so with that, Covered California is a good website for the health insurance marketplace for non-veteran health insurance program questions. I would run through Covered California to find an affordable option.
Yeah, I got one thing to add for that. I agree with Cole. My daughter is special needs, and Covered California is taking care of her. She has a brain tumor ever since we've been here. It's a little slow on the referral end, but once she gets the care, it's really good. But there is a thing called a helpless child claim that if she lives with you, you can collect more money as long as you can prove that the child was disabled before age 18. And you can do that claim at any time. They could be 30. So there is no time limit on that. You just have to have proof that they were disabled prior to age 18, and the veteran will get an extra stipend on his check. It may interact with or have a negative effect with Social Security if they're on SSI, because you have to count every dollar coming in. So if that's not the case, it's a good way to go. It also makes them eligible for any type of death benefit, whereas normally kids term out at 23, 18, or 23 if they're in college. Helpless child remains an eligible recipient for life. That's all.
Thank you so much. We appreciate that one. So here is a pretty a long question. There's a lot of personal information in here. I'm kind of hesitant to go all in this, but this person is a fiduciary for his aunt, who had survivor pension benefits. They received a letter stating that they are terminating the benefit and asking for the year's worth of payments back. So do I appeal or wait till funds are below 129,000? What about paying back benefits? What forms do I need to file? My recommendation is to go to a local county veteran service office and bring your specifics to them. David, do you have any more advice for that?
Yeah, I would agree, because it's all so case by case, and that's unique situation. So it has to be dealt with individually. There is no general answer for that.
Okay, great.
That I could provide.
Yes. And I definitely don't want to go into details of this message. And then VC, I did see your hand up. I did ask your question here. So did you want to put that in the chat, VC? So it looks like maybe they didn't realize our hand was still up. Oh, wait. Says it was in the chat. So let me look back in the chat. There's quite a bit of questions in here. So let me look back. Stand by. Here it is. Can using medical marijuana be disqualifying factor for Calvet programs?
Not for Calvet programs. The only exception would be if you are in one of the long-term care homes. So if you're like a resident in one of our nursing homes, they're first of all non-smoking facilities, and then second of all, they have to make sure that any medicinal things that you're using aren't affecting your other any other prescriptions that you're taking. And so I don't believe you're authorized to use medical marijuana if you're a resident in the long-term care homes here in California. But otherwise, our other California benefit programs, I mean, there's no drug test or anything like that. You may be talking about VA programs. Some people run into issues with VA programs, especially the healthcare. If they're using medical marijuana, there's this notion that if the VA finds out that you're using medical marijuana, that they'll cancel your benefits. And so I don't know. I've never heard of that happening. Maybe David has some insight on that.
Sorry, I was answering a direct message, but I did hear about medical marijuana, and because it's federal crime. Well, the only time benefits get stopped is if you're incarcerated for 61 days for felony. So if you're only incarcerated for 1 day or not at all, then you don't have anything taken away.
Yeah, the only issues that I've ever seen anyone run across with medical marijuana use is if they're under care by the VA and they're getting prescriptions from the VA, and they tell their VA provider that they also use medical marijuana, the VA provider sometimes is unsure about how that medical marijuana will interact with their prescriptions that they're getting. And so they might somehow stop those prescriptions or something like that. So, but that's an issue between you and the doctor. And whether or not you even want to disclose that you use medical marijuana, because, it's not like the VA does drug tests or anything like that for receiving benefits. So the only things that I've ever heard about medical marijuana affecting VA benefits or veterans benefits at all is all anecdotal and hypothetical. I've never heard of a specific instance of anybody's benefits getting canceled because of using medical marijuana.
Agreed.
So here's one. It says compare and contrast using Cvso versus non-government VSOs. And what I can say about that is the Cvsos are certified through Calvet David, would you like to go over a little bit more about the different?
Yeah, in comparison, because I was a link for about 7 years and I studied all the counties and all the other BSOs, DAB, American Legion, AMVETS, the majority of clients that come to the county have been partially served by the onesies and twosies that are at the hospital. So they don't have a team, a staff. They're not as professional of an organization. And that says a lot when you're dealing with prior professionals trying to file a claim. But also we get intense training quarterly through Calvet. They fund it, our association helps fund it, and we get it directly from the feds. And we're tied in directly to the feds. And so I just think that the customer service aspect is huge difference. And our training is just, we're on the cutting edge of everything new coming out. Whereas I can't say that they are. That's all.
Yeah, I can personally
Maybe.
attest to the CVSO office as an amazing option. There's great service officers in all kinds of service organizations, but most of them, it's not their full-time job. For these folks at the CVSO office, this is what their full-time job is, day in and day out. They've been trained by us at Calvet and the VA. They know exactly the language that the VA wants to see in these claims in order to get them approved at a higher rate. So I always advocate for using the CVSO office just because of the level of responsiveness and everything. You know, you could use, maybe you're a VFW member or something like that, and you have a post-service officer, and that's fine. But, you know, what if your post-service officer retires or gets sick or something like that? There's no backup there. With a CVSO office like David's, there's 2, 3, 4 people who are accredited service representatives that can file claims. They can pick up right where the other person left off.
Thank you. Thank you so much, David and Cole. Really, really appreciate it. It looks like that concludes all of our questions in the chat. Is there anything you would like to add, Danielle?